Hi, Rich Daly from DynoPort, Mad Scientist Header Coating and SHCRA. Playing a little with the asphalt sled today. The problem is I'm busy at the shop, got too many good customers, so we come up with a cob job to do some testing. So what I did is I started out with just one cylinder. So I would pull one cylinder, but the sled was too lazy. It was kind of like a guy on a Superflow dyno that starts at $6,000 and takes 6 seconds to get to $9,000. So then I hooked up my second cylinder with a bungee and a spacer. So I was running about a quarter throttle. It wouldn't come up on the pipe as good, so I went to third throttle. We finally got it. So I'm going to give you a quick replay. So here's what we had on our run. Get into the quicker mode. So we engaged just a little over $5,000. Not realistic there, it held a little. Then as we take off, it gets to $9,000. 6-second run. Here's the problem with you guys, and I'm doing this so you can learn a little on tuning. My plug's still dark. I know that in the quarter mile we're going to run in the 8 to 8.5 second range. Another 2 seconds, this plug that's a little dark will be perfect, clean. So this is a good thing for me. I don't have time to test. We're going to Norwalk. We'll have to run a qualifying first round. The other thing I did, because I'm going to do all 3 cylinders, I compared temps. So after the 6-second run, my head, I run air-cooled heads, quarter mile. I can change, go and look at my pistons quick. Air-cooled is fine. All these guys that say you'll detonate, they don't know how to adjust timing and carbs. If we were running a minute or something, then the air-cooled's a different story. My center pipe temp was 194, my header was 220, and my head was 129. What that allows me to do is change a jet, do the same simulated run, see where my temp is. Speaking of jets, I figured out that we were changing 20 points at a time. That's too rough. I've got power jets on these carbs. Now I can change a 10-point jet. The other thing that was interesting, to get the sled to accelerate, since I had no horsepower, I'm running a 1 1/3 cylinder engine. I went from my standard 50-42 or 50-40 helix I run all the way down to a 36-40, which less helix, less horsepower. I also put in a stiffer secondary spring. A stiff secondary spring robs horsepower because the belt sticks to the clutch coming off. So we always run a very soft secondary, adjust our clutch to it. I took my primary clutch, which is nice on a Skidoo, and I took all my clickers out to 6, so the clutch wasn't loaded as much, and we hit it pretty close. What I couldn't do was bring it up there and hold it another 3 seconds without holding the brake perfectly to simulate the load at the track. Trying to think if I think that pretty much covers it. So basically, when you guys are clutching or jetting, you need to set it up for the length of your run. Ryan, I think you had a couple questions from the peanut gallery here.
Yeah, Rich, so why limit air inlet on the slide than play with jetting?
Well, here's why. The horsepower, if I ran, and I've done this before, if I ran 3 cylinders and I whacked the gas, even holding the brake, this thing with 280 horse would instantly be up to, within 1 to 2 seconds, to 160, I'm geared for 164 miles an hour. I had been up to 164 miles an hour and no time to load the motor.
So it would have got away from you.
It would have got away from me. So basically what I did is I created a poor man's dyno. Is it accurate? A little bit, and that's all I care about. I'm now in my range of jetting within 1 jet when I get to the track. So now I can dial it in 2 runs instead of being at the track for 4 runs.
So what's your ideal RPM that you want to end at?
Well, here's the other thing too, where a dyno guy will probably tell you wrong because he doesn't race. This engine here has never been on a dyno. I haven't had time. I did some guessing. I've got shorter pipes. I've got much higher compression. I'm running my compression's so high I haven't even figured the ratio. I'm probably in the 19, 19 and a half range for quarter mile. Everybody will say you're nuts. No, we're going to go fast because you can jet and set your timing in 8 seconds to run any compression you want. It's dependent on your pipe stinger and that. So back to the original deal. What was your other question?
That was just what was your ideal RPM you'd want?
Oh yeah,
target.
I got off. I'm like John Forks. I got off. I got confused here. I don't know what my RPM target is. I don't care, and here's why. I know my old engine was 92 to 94, depending on air. Here's another thing that will throw
air
you.
to track conditions.
Everything.
Changing.
When the air gets bad, your engine's like a guy climbing out in Colorado. He slows down. Your engine slows down. It's not efficient. So we went 155 out in Columbus when it was 4,000 feet air, and it could have been raining. It was so dewy. With the clutch loaded the same as we ran 2 weeks before at Lebanon with great air, because at Lebanon we turned 94. We lightened the clutch in Ohio and slowed down. So it's all a fine balance. So back to the deal, here's how I'm going to figure it out. We're going to dial the clutch one click after first round of qualifying to lighten the motor up a little. If my mile an hour slows down, I went the wrong way. If it picks up, I load it or lighten it more. I do that, and you can do the same on your trail sled. You go out, you get a certain distance, you check your mile an hour, your buddy, and there's no magic to it. It's all logic. You guys get confused. You buy these $500 clutch kits for your 850 E-Tech and you haven't even adjusted a clicker. Before you buy a clutch kit, read your manual, adjust your clickers, know what you need, know what you want. So enough on this. My next video will be a simple one on how to clutch your 850 E-Tech. It's pretty basic. So Ryan, thanks. Good questions, because if you're not around this all the time, it may look a little crazy, but it's a quick way for me to get to the track tomorrow actually, and be closer to my first run. Hey, by the way, guys, if you want to go fast, Spectre Oil, V-Force reeds, you won't find a Boyson reed in a Pro Stock engine. You may find one guy at the back of the pack, but trust me, we've been on the dyno a lot. The V-Force on over 90% of the engines make more power. And Spectro is probably the best synthetic oil out there. And Dalton Helixes, the exact same degrees as Skidoo, so very easy to switch a helix, plus a very wide surface area. So we'll see how it does out at Summit.